Hi Sinead and Kathleen, thanks so much for sending through the pictures and the floor plan of your house, Kathleen. Looks like a really lovely homely house in the country, and I know you're keen to look at your living room and your dining room and how you can kind of make the most of both of those spaces. And you were asking me as well if it was possible to kind of make those spaces one big open plan space. So what I would say, just from looking at the images, but I'll talk through all of this now in a second in the video that's following. What I would say first of all is that basically because you've got two fireplaces back to back, it might not be possible to make that whole place open plan without doing major structural renovations, because those fireplaces would be supporting the ceiling as well, or supporting the roof. So what I'm going to suggest is I have some ideas for how you can make the whole space feel a bit more open plan and feel a bit more together without actually knocking everything through and doing massive structural work. So I'll take you through all of that in the video. I'll go through first of all the images that you sent me, what works really well, what might need a little bit of help, and I'll go through all my suggestions for the floor plan and for the finishes and everything else as well. So as always, if you have any questions, just feel free to email me at info@whatwouldAdesignerdo.com, and yeah, be more than happy to help. So I hope this helps, and I will talk to you soon. Hi Kathleen. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go through what you have sent me through. So first of all, you sent me through a rough floor plan, which is great. Thanks so much for that. And you put your measurements and stuff into your email. I have just redrawn that to scale, just to give me a good idea of the actual space that's available. So when we look at it in scale, it looks a bit like this. So let me just maximize that there. Okay, so you have basically a sitting room and dining room that are right next to each other. You have lovely big bay windows here looking out to the front of your house. And you've big space. Actually, I think this is 5.5 meters by 5 meters. So they're big rooms, and this one is 5 by 5. You have fireplaces in each room, which is lovely. It's lovely to have a fireplace in your dining room. You're so lucky. And those are adjoining, obviously. So presumably using the same flue, or indeed there might be two chimneys there, but either way, you have back-to-back fireplaces. You currently have a doorway through. I know you also have a doorway here in from your kitchen. But you have a doorway through there between these two rooms, and you currently have your sofa this way, looking at your TV, which is down here on this wall. So you were asking me basically, how could you possibly make this whole space open plan? And if it was possible to make it open plan, or if not, how to make it feel a bit more open. And you mentioned that you really like the kind of country cottage style as well, which I think would be fabulous, because it's obviously a beautiful home in the country. So before we look at my suggested floor plan, I'm just going to take a look at your photos that you've sent me through as well. So this is the dining room. This is kind of standing in the doorway between the two spaces, looking at the dining room. So you have the lovely big bay windows, which is great. We can definitely do something really interesting with those. And you have a big space there for your dining table. I know you said that the dining room only kind of gets used around Christmas time. So that's just looking at the other side, standing in the same spot, but looking at the fireplace in the dining room. So that's fine. And then this is standing kind of in the doorway again, looking to the other side of the room. What else did you send me there? So you sent me through the living room photos as well. Okay, so we're still standing in the same doorway basically between the two spaces, but now we're looking into the living room. So you have your fireplace here. So it looks like those fireplaces are back to back. Lovely big bay window, and you have your sofa facing away from the fire actually, which is interesting, but I get it. You obviously have your TV down the other end, so we'll see what we can do about that. Yeah, there's the TV there. But it just means that you're missing out on the fire, so I'm going to just see what I can do about that. Okay, and that's I think that's all of the living room photos. Yeah. Okay, so Kathleen, what I'm going to suggest, I'm going to go through the floor plan, my suggested floor plan first of all, and then I'll take you through kind of some sample images, and I'll take you through some materials and things like that. But basically, what I'd love to do with your floor plan is to help you make it much more open plan, which is what you wanted to do. Now, the thing about it is, because you have, if I just go back to this original one, because you have your fireplaces here, chances are that those fireplaces are actually supporting the roof. So I think I mentioned that in my introduction video there. So it is possible to take them out, but it's a major piece of building work for your house to remove those. You could block them up, you could, there's lots of things you could do there, but I'd love for you to be able to actually use those fireplaces and still have the whole thing feel a little bit more open plan. So my suggestion is going to be this. We're going to remove this doorway altogether, and we're going to heighten the whole thing and make it feel much more open plan. So we're going to basically knock out this door, remove these little bits of wall on either side of the door. And then what I'm going to suggest you do, so you see there, you're left with basically an open plan area here. What I'm going to suggest then is that you're going to put in a double-sided firebox here, so that basically you get and it's a glass firebox, so you can actually see through it as well. So you get the effect of a fire, on either side, but you can actually see through it, and then this space here is left open. And then on either side, so you'd have a little bit of your chimney breast still, obviously, on either side of that. But in your sitting room, I'm going to suggest you use that chimney breast for alcoves where you can store logs and things like that. And in your dining room, I suggest you leave that blank, but I mean, certainly you could put alcoves in there as well if you wanted. But beside that, you have space then for a little seat or some shelving. So I'll go through all of that in a minute. I want to show you samples of what I mean by this double-sided fireplace first of all. So if I just go to my images here. So I have a bunch of different kind of images. This is probably one of the better ones here to show you what I mean by this this whole idea of the firebox. I'll just make that a bit bigger. Hopefully you can see that okay. So this is what I mean. So you're actually keeping your chimney breast in place, because like I say, chances are your chimney breasts are supporting the roof. But you can put in this double-sided firebox. So you might be able to pull back your chimney breast a little bit, remove a little bit of it, but put in this double-sided firebox. And by taking out the doorway that you had, kind of beside the fireplaces, and by opening it right up, you should be able to create this kind of flow through that feels really open plan. And I suggested using the space, that's left beside it for alcoves, for logs, so something like this, and putting in a little bit of shelving beside it as well. And on the other side in your dining room, then you could put in, similar alcoves or a little seat or something like that. So that's kind of one of the firebox samples. Here's another one. So you can see, they're fabulous. They just create this lovely flow through without actually making the whole place open plan. You still have a divide, you still have a bit of privacy, if somebody wants to be in the living room and somebody else in the dining room, you still have a bit of division between the two, but you have that lovely open flow that you were looking for. And again, here they have used the spare kind of bit of the chimney breast to create cabinetry and shelving. I love that lighting, actually, that down lighting in the shelves as well. That could be really successful in your room. And it still gives you that kind of country feel depending on how you decorate it. Even though the fireplace itself is quite modern, you can certainly still achieve a very cottagey sort of feeling from it. So I think I just have one or two more of those, but I'm sure you're getting the idea by now. So there's another one there. That's a very modern style, around it. They've done something very modern with the chimney breast. And this one I think is quite modern as well, but absolutely you could make it very country style. You could even, I think this is really successful, having a little lip out here. to, you know, to just give you a little bit of extra room around the firebox. I love the way they've done this down lighting underneath here as well. So that's, I mean, that'll give you some ideas, Kathleen, just to start with. You can see here as well, now this isn't an open-sided or an double-sided fireplace, but you can see the idea of building in alcoves into what's left of the chimney breast and building in a little bit of shelving. I think that will really, really give you that cottagey kind of feeling that you're looking for. So just to go back to your floor plan, so that's where you'd have that double-sided firebox. You could even make that a little bit smaller and just have a little bit of a ledge on either side of it, if that makes sense. Again, you're left with some chimney breast anyway, so you might as well use that for, you know, you can knock into it and create alcoves. All of this can be done, by the way, by figuring out where your flue is and just moving that wall back. So where you're knocking through the doorway, knock all the way through to kind of where the beginning of your fireplace is, and that's where you would place that double-sided fireplace, if that makes sense. And again, you had that, if I just look at your images of your living room, I don't know if I can see it on your images, but certainly I could see on your floor plan actually. Let me just go back, sorry, I beg your pardon. Let me just go back to your floor plans here. Your original one, that's what I'm looking for. I could see that you have, you know, you do have an alcove naturally there anyway. So again, you could trim this chimney breast a little bit if you have space and create a little seating area here. So you could just put in a little wooden seat. Be lovely to put some baskets or something underneath the seat. And here you could create some lovely shelving. So you can see all that there on the plan that I've created. Next thing is I'm going to suggest above your fire and you know, your alcoves and all that you would place your TV on the chimney breast, so that then you can actually orient yourself this way. So you can watch your TV and enjoy your fire at the same time. So I think a really nice way to do this would be to get an L-shaped sofa and to have maybe 2 wingback chairs and a big ottoman in the middle. So you're really, because you have a huge room, so you really want to make the most of that space. I think it'd be lovely to have a little bit of lamp light around the room, so maybe a standing lamp over here near your fire, just to kind of really spread that light around. You could have a sideboard at the back here, or indeed you could have built-in cabinetry at the back here, and again, lots of lighting, you know, kind of table lamps and that sort of thing. You could even fit in a little table with a table lamp here. You could have some wall sconces. So you can see what I'm doing with the lighting. It's lots and lots of soft lamp light all the way around. And even with your shelves here, I would use that idea of the down lights in your shelves. So just creating lovely soft lighting here. So you can imagine watching your telly, sitting here and watching your telly, having the fire going here, nice down lighting here, lamp light here, and then lighting all around you. And it just means you don't need a bright overhead light, because you've got this lovely soft ambient light all the way around. So I'm just going to show you some samples of sofas and things that I think would be really successful there. So an L-shaped sofa, so the sofa would kind of run along your window on this side and facing your fireplace this way. So sofas like this, I mean, you can find them anywhere really, but somewhere like sofa.com in the UK are actually brilliant. They're really reasonably priced, I find, and they deliver to your door. And there isn't a long waiting time. I think it's like 6 weeks, as opposed to lots of places at the moment are 6 months. So they send you samples of fabrics, so you can go to their website and look for different fabrics and pick out 5 or 6 fabrics they send you for free, and then you can order the sofa online from them. So I found them to be really useful. If something like that took your fancy, you could also order actually something like this from them. So I think bringing in little splashes of colour then into your living room, I think something like a coral covered wingback seat, 2 wingback seats in there in your living room could be really successful. And then I was going to suggest an ottoman. So if you have a look at Here, there's your wingback seats. There's your big L-shaped sofa in that cream or white. And then I was going to suggest an ottoman for the middle. So an ottoman, I think, would be a lovely addition to that room to keep that country style. And I came across this fabric here that I think would be gorgeous with those coral kind of wingback seats, and just kind of bringing in a bit more of that coral colour. And that fabric, I believe, is from Helen Turkington, who is an Irish interior designer as well. But if you have a look at her website, she has some beautiful fabrics. But either way, you could go for an ottoman and just get it upholstered in any fabric you want. But I think, you know, a little bit of splash of colour, those corals, I think could be really, really successful. For your carpet then, I had a carpet picked out for you. It doesn't seem to be there, but the carpet I'm going to suggest for your living room would be something very neutral. So something, even have a look at this image here. You can see they have a very neutral kind of biscuity colour. So you could go for like a very natural, you know, wool biscuity colour carpet the whole way through. You could even go for floorboards, if you, depending on the condition of your floorboards underneath your carpet. But if you have good floorboards, you could actually varnish up those floorboards to a nice kind of pine colour, and then go for a big area rug in a kind of a natural biscuity colour, just to place under your ottoman. So you can see that idea of a large ottoman, I think, would be really successful. Then, Kathleen, what else do I have for you? So then I think we'll have a look at your dining room. So if we look at the floor plan here again, so your dining room, then you could go for, you know, a big table, because you have so much space. You could really go for a big table. You could go for another sideboard even here if you wanted to push that table over. I think something like a country style table like this could be really successful. So I've seen these in lots of places, but certainly the Elms in Naas, or the Orchard, or I mean, there's lots of places. You probably even get something like that in Harvey Norman, or you could look on Wayfair, or they're fairly popular. But like this kind of farmhouse rustic style table, and pair it with you know, a kind of a formal high-backed seat, I think could be really nice. And again, going for those sort of neutral tones. And I actually love something like this pendant hanging low down over the dining room table. So I think the fact that you have so much space in your dining room, Kathleen, means that you could really go for something quite show-stopping in here. Flooring wise, you could certainly, if you're going for floorboards, and I actually, for your cottagey feel, I would suggest floorboards. And you could go for a different kind of rug maybe underneath the table. So you could go for a huge area rug again. So I found this one on Casey's Furniture. So I think the pale blue could be really nice in your dining room. So, you know, most of your big pieces of furniture are neutral, like your sofa and all of that. And in your dining room, your table, your chairs, keep them all really neutral, kind of biscuity colours. And then add your pops of colour with things like your rug. In the sitting room, it'd be like your coral chairs and all that sort of stuff. I found this sideboard as well, actually. This is from Blackrock Kitchens. Now it is a bit kitcheny looking, but you could certainly get something like this in like a duck egg blue. And where I'm suggesting that for is you could go for it here in your living room. You could even go put a sideboard here. You have enough space, put a sideboard here, and you could do built-in cabinetry back here in like a cream or something like that. You have the option as well to build in window seats, because you have those lovely big bay window seats. So I think I have, let me see, I think I have some images of, yeah, bay windows with window seats here. You could do something lovely like that, which I think, again, is really cottagey and country and just absolutely gorgeous. Those kind of florals on your cushions, use those on the sofa as well. I think will really give you that whole sort of country look. I had one more, I think, yeah, I have one here. This is the bedroom, but you get the same idea. So, you know, you could really build in a gorgeous window seat, even put a little bit of storage underneath it. And just with your bay window then, what I would do if you're having a window seat and you still want to have curtains, I'd just have the curtains, you know, on the edge of the bay that just pulls straight across. And you could even go for something like a hard pelmet or something at the top, you know, like not a real foofy one now, but like the type of one you'd see in a hotel, like just a straight line hard pelmet, just to cover the top of the window so you don't have a curtain rail showing. So I think that is the guts of it, Kathleen. That's the major stuff spoken about anyway. So paint wise, I would be looking at maybe going for just a really neutral cream base, you know, the whole way through actually, and certainly you can add those pops of color then that we spoke about. So I think hopefully that'll give you a fairly good idea of where to start. If you need any further information at all, please do just feel free to email me or call me. You have my email address anyway. It's info@whatwouldAdesignerdo.com, and you have my number. So please do feel free to reach out if you have any questions about any of that. I think the first thing to do would be to speak to a contractor and just make sure that this work is all possible, but from looking at what you've told me, I believe that it would be, so it shouldn't be a major problem. But look, I mean, hopefully that'll kind of help you go from this sort of separate closed off 2 rooms to a much more open plan feel, and still achieving the coziness of a cottage style. So we'll leave it there, Kathleen, and I really look forward to seeing what you do with the place, and I will talk to you soon. Okay guys, so for anybody watching this video on the website, just to give you a quick update, Kathleen she went ahead and she wanted to do all of the work. She loved the ideas, and she actually asked me to create some 3D drawings for her. So this isn't part of the normal €280 consultation, but it is something that Kathleen asked me to create because she wanted to be able to visualize it a little bit better. So just to show you, these are 3D kind of photorealistic drawings, not fully photorealistic because you can see things like cushions floating out in thin air, but just some drawings that I did of her space and how you can, you know, visualize a space like this. So this is a double-sided fireplace that I was suggesting. This is what it would look like with the open plan kind of doorway and you know, sort of much more flow through the spaces. These are the little alcoves that I was suggesting she build in, and then I have some shelving over here, the L-shaped sofa, the ottoman, a wingback chair, a sideboard here as well. So just to give you an idea, that service of doing 3D drawings is available. It's an additional cost obviously, but it's certainly, if you really want to visualize how a space will look, that's certainly something that I can do for you. And again, you can contact me on info@whatwouldAdesignerdo.com to discuss your project further. So this is just standing looking back the other way in the living room. So I've put in this idea of kind of built-in cabinetry for her to show her, and added in lots of lovely kind of down lighting and some wall sconces here. So it just gives you a better idea of everything that I was just talking about for Kathleen there. That's kind of standing beside the fireplace. You can see the edge of the fireplace there looking back. So I mean, you'd have to obviously picture this with all the bits and bobs, the lovely kind of, you know, accessories and all that kind of thing, but this was just for a concept really, just to give Kathleen a better idea of kind of how that open plan, that's what she wanted to see, how the open plan would work. Now Kathleen herself did say, can you just try some grey wood flooring, because she was very keen on that, and she wanted to see what this would look like with panels and stuff. So there's a few different styles here that I put in together. You wouldn't necessarily have all these styles kind of right next to each other. You'd probably continue one style the whole way through, but Kathleen just wanted to have a look at some of those styles. So this is just the dining room. There's the seat that I was talking about putting beside the fireplace, window seat here, kind of country style table, Again, these are not totally realistic looking, but they're just drawings to give her ideas of the space. Mostly she just kind of wanted to see what that double-sided fireplace, how that would work. So that is more or less it. But as I say, that service, the V-Ray drawings, 3D drawings, that service, absolutely, that's available, and that's something that, you know, if you did want to get in touch about that, I'd be more than happy to chat to you about your project. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what I was talking about with her floor plans there, you know, the double-sided firebox, the alcoves, the shelves. You can kind of see all of that coming to life there. Double-sided fireplace, there's the alcoves, there's the shelving. So look, that just gives you a little idea of how that project has progressed. Unfortunately, after we did these drawings, everything went into lockdown, so all construction has stopped, so the project is on hold. But in terms of just being able to visualize it, I thought I'd show you this as well, just for anybody watching this video on my website, so you get a better idea of kind of how it would all look. So that is it. I'll leave this video there, and I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will talk to you soon.